Hey, what's up guys and welcome back to Anime King 3. And today I'm going to be giving you part 8 of What If Naruto got the Karma Seal from Sasuke. Remember to get this one to 100 like as usual. Share this to all of your friends in your social media platform. And also guys, don't forget to go ahead and check out the other channels. Yes, that's right, I indeed have 4 channels which I post What If on every single day for you guys to enjoy. I already posted a brand new episode of What If Naruto became a new god of apocalypse over an Anime King. So go ahead, check out that and enjoy guys. And stay tuned for the rest of the movies and series coming your way. And don't forget to turn on the bell notification to see exactly when I post. So without further ado or wasting more time, what do you say we jump right into this brand new episode begin now guys? So the last time we left off, Orochimaru was heading to Konoha as he wanted Sasuke's eyes. He wanted to take over the Uchiha's body. He failed with Itachi. In fact, if it wasn't for Kabuto, he would have been dead. He was too cocky and Itachi got the one up on him. But now, he was gonna get what he deserved. His original plan was to bring Konoha to its knees. But there was one man that was preventing him from doing that. No other nation would side with him. None at all. Knowing that Minato was alive, the fastest and the deadliest man on this world, no one would ever go against him or Konoha. It was untouchable right now. However, once he get what he seek, that was young Sasuke. He refined his curse mark. Minato might be good at full jutsu, but Orochimaru doubt that he will be able to get rid of this mark. There was no way that he could, with his soul inside of it. So Orochimaru was certain that Minato would not be able to get rid of his mark. He was gonna mark the young Sasuke to corrupt his mind so that he could get him on his side and take his body and become perfect. He can finally achieve what he wanted, and then he would bring Konoha to its knees and nothing would be able to stop him. Nothing at all in this world. He would become a true god above that fake god in the hidden rain. However, because of Minato, the relationship between the Sand and Konoha were a lot different. It was better. Minato had even placed a better seal on Gaara, so the boy would no longer be psychotic. It has been a few months since a new seal has been added to Gaara, after the conciliation between the Sand and Konoha coming together. Since then, Temari realized that her old brother was coming back. It was better when he was younger, but since he started be driven mad by Shikaku, they stayed their distance away from him. But now, he was still not that much talkative, but he was better, a whole lot better, and he was not randomly killing people all the time. The new seal allowed him access to Shikaku's power, without Shikaku forcing him to stay awake. Gaara was finally able to sleep. He was no longer exhausted, but the chakra of Shikaku kept him up. He was finally able to sleep and relax, without worrying about his mind being controlled or taken over. And with that, the ninjas were heading towards Konoha to prove themselves. The team was quite the force to be reckoned with after all. While that was going on, Mito was out of the village on a mission. Her being under an apprenticeship, she would not be able to take the tuning exams, but her sensei had seen it fit to judge her in terms of the upgrade, in terms of tuning rank. She would be the one to judge her and see if she was ready. After she given her recommendation to the Hokage, Mito would have to lead and complete a mission by herself. Nothing too over-exaggerated or dangerous, but something that would make her show her skills as a chunin. So with that, she was gone with Yujiro away from the village. As for Kushina, she was walking through the village. Her baby boy Naruto was somewhere here. She was holding the arm of Menma as he was holding on to his ball. she was bringing him towards a park. Minato had spoke to them about not intervening at all, even if they see Naruto. He had a plan, and their intervention might ruin his plan. They'd all promised him. Menma ended up dropping his ball as it rolled towards someone. The person crouched down and picked it up. Menma looked at the person as the person looked at him. The person was none other than Naruto, who was on a stroll. Ever since stepping into Konoha, he felt weird. Kushina saw him for the first time, as it started to draw attention towards them. Kushina ended up bleeding because she bit her tongue so hard. She didn't want to say anything or even call his name. Menma said that she was bleeding as the attention of the people was drawn. They thought that the enemy shinobi had done something to the Hokage's wife, as Naruto backed away, showing that he had not, but the glares were still on him. Despite this being a peaceful time, he was still a shinobi from an unknown land that was not theirs. So he left, as Kushina was upset with herself, but she remembered what Minato said. He better hope that he had a solid plan, because she just let the chance of saying something to her son just slip through her fingers. There was no doubt about it, it was him. She had to physically bite herself to restrain herself from saying a word. It was her baby boy, Naruto. As she had shed the tears, wiping them away from her eyes so Menma would not see, as she brought him towards the park. Naruto ended up having a run-in with Conqueror and the others, as Conqueror had bumped into someone, that being Konohamaru, as Naruto had arrived. Something strange had happened as Naruto had collapsed. His head was throbbing. He had came face to face with none other than Natsume, who spoke to him, as she helped him up. It was then that Naruto accidentally let it slip about him not remembering majority of his life. She quickly concealed her emotions as fast as she could. She had to tell her father about this. This was the reason why he did not remember them. Once they left, Naruto made his way, having no idea why he collapsed, as something was wrong ever since stepping foot in this village. With that, some time passed and the exam finally begins. They made their way towards the examination room as they saw the others. The first test was a written test. That was easy for them, and they weren't someone that would give up that easily, as Naruto would never raise his hand, and the other two would not make a move. Despite not saying it, Naruto had taken a leadership role in the team, as he had been the one to taught them in and out of things. And they saw that he would not do whatever the proctor was saying. And besides, they want to show their worth as powerful shinobis from Kumo. So they move on to the second round, which is the Forest of Death. As they enter inside, a team from the rain had tried to attack them around 15 minutes after entering. Team Narue had ended them within a matter of seconds, knocking all of them out and taking their scroll. To their surprise, it was a scroll that they needed. It seems that they would make a record time. However, Naruto felt something off, his instinct screaming at him to go back. The other two decided to trust him. After all, they put their faith in him always. So with that, they made their way there to find out what the hell was bugging him so much. Team 7 was faced off against Orochimaru. Orochimaru had beaten Sasuke. However, he saw it fit to kill Natsume, just to ensure that Minato suffered. However, before he could deliver that strike by his blade, a feet sunk into his face. So yeah guys, basically that's what I left off. You guys can switch across the place, check it out for yourself. So yeah, without further ado, let's jump right into this. Begin now guys. Orochimaru had been hit hard before. He was on a team with Senju Tsunade after all. He had been hit with powerful blows time after time again. But either he was prepared, or at least a bit brave to handle a blow, but this one he was not prepared for. Orochimaru could not believe that he was caught off guard so easily. He was drunk with glee of killing that girl. After all, if he killed her, that was a way of breaking down Minato, to eventually make him kill him in the long run. With his spirits broken and the man being a shivering mess, he could be able to take him down. But he was so focused and so caught up, as the girl had been struggling. He got hit. He cursed himself for not sensing the person coming. But the person felt unusual, and not to mention the blow that hit him was unreal. The Sannin was sent through several trees The trees in the forest of death were extremely thick, so that just goes to show you how powerful this kick was. But not only that, as he ended up in the ground, his neck was twisted in an odd angle. If it was anyone else, they would have been dead. But because of his unusual body, he was able to bring his head back around, like it was made from rubber. His unusual snake-like body was the only reason why he had survived that. Orochimaru felt the stinging feeling in his face. Still shocked by someone being able to do that, he turned his sights from where the person had kicked him. He had to see who the hell that was. Could it be possible that a genin this powerful had been in the exam? Orochimaru leaped forward to find out what the hell was going on. As for Naruto, he landed on the branch. Natsume looked up at him. She had bruises and marks all over her. Orochimaru gave her quite the thrashing. He was about to end her life, but she was saved. Naruto, she said. You saved me. Once again. Naruto was about to respond until he felt something. Karu, Amoy, said Naruto. Take them and get somewhere safe. Are you crazy? We're not leaving you here. Karu said back to him. Damn it, said Naruto, whoever this is, it's no normal genin. His goal is to kill her, and I can't allow that to happen. Just take her and get out of here. I'll stop him, said Naruto. The two would have commented on the new marks on Naruto. However, unlike the time on the bridge, the marks were blue this time, as Naruto had activated his karma mode, the one that he had control over. He had no horns. However, Naruto was shocked himself. He was not quite sure who the hell this person was. All he saw was someone about to kill Natsume. He knew their chakra felt irregular. The problem was, he released a full power kick. He gave everything he had in that kick. This person's neck should have been broken by that force. But yet the person was back. That was the hardest he could kick anyone. And the person had staggered that kick like it was nothing, and was already back in a matter of seconds. Just who was this monster, Naruto thought. Seeing the look in his eyes, and realizing that he did not want this girl to die, both Karu and Amoy looked towards each other. Fine, said Karu. But you better not die, you hear that, she said, giving him a steely glare. Of course not, said Naruto. Go, I'll catch up. Sakura was the only one conscious at the moment, as Natsume had passed out from the injuries finally. And not to mention her using the Kyuubi's chakra. Sakura had nodded to them. They were here to help, and the situation that she was in, she could not deny their help, so they move off. Naruto was left to face whoever this was, glad that his team had so much trust in him, knowing that he would not die here. The moment Naruto saw the person, he realized who it was. Orochimaru. Orochimaru licked his lips hungrily. So you know of me, he said. Of course I do. Who wouldn't know of the great Orochimaru of the Sannin, one of Konoha's greatest enemy and criminals. Not just here though, across the entire world. Especially in Kumo as well. Orochimaru noticed the headband. I have been hearing some chatters about a miracle genin at Kumo that is able to do impossible feats. Tell me, boy, what is your name? My name is not important. Who am I is not important. You are not supposed to be here. I suggest you leave. Orochimaru laughed. He was amused. You suggest I leave? I'm afraid that that is not going to happen until I find out exactly what you are. And what are those markings, Orochimaru said. Your chakra. It is unusual. I've never felt anything like it. It's strong. Too strong for a normal genin. But at the same time, it feels repressed. It's almost like I'm feeling two different sources. But it feels strange. What are you, Orochimaru said. You're definitely not a Jinchuriki. But I've never seen anything like you before. Naruto did not like this. He did not like this one bit. He knew that he was strong for his age, but To face someone like this, it would be suicide. He even tapped into his karma mode, and yet, he still did not kill the guy from that blow. Not gonna answer me, huh? Orochimaru said. Well then, I guess I'll have to find out myself. Naruto slipped into his stance, as Orochimaru simply looked amused. You caught me off guard once, boy. It will not happen again. The snake Sanin slickered on the branch. He curled around it and twists, moving in a pattern that surprised Naruto by the speed. The man was in front of him within a second. Naruto crossed his arm as he was blasted off the tree. Inside of his mindscape, Yui sat on her throne. She had been ignoring him since he threatened to kill her. Not that she feared him or anything, but she realized that she might need him for the foreseeable future, and therefore, if there's a rift between them, she could not use him as she thought. So she has been trying to find a way for her to put her pride aside to work with this lowly human. But it was hard, incredibly so. She did not care much for her time after all. She was stuck in here, as long as the time outside was not something to worry about. She had escaped. Well, she tried to. She was almost killed until she landed on this planet. It was her last living hope. She was hoping to find someone weak to take over instantly, but that damn child messed everything up, putting her in hibernation for so long. She had slept for so long. His power had merged with her own. However, he was not using the power that was accessible to him, even now. He thought that he was using her power to the fullest, but he was wrong. He called it his karma mode, which, in a sense, it was. However, the thing was, he was not using it to its fullest. She would have been the one to teach him how to use it so he can be better prepared for the future. She was waiting for him to figure it out himself so he can come to her, but since he threatened her, she had not spoken to him. To think that him, a lowly human, could threaten someone like her. But that got her remembering that she was no longer the being that she once was. Even if she is, she was hunted by her own people just because she didn't want what they wanted. She took a breath as she calmed herself down. Even now she could feel him out there fighting whoever this person is. This person is stronger than him, even with him using the karma mode, because he was not using it correctly. He was not using the full access that he had. The moment she was placed in hibernation, something that was not possible happened. Their bodies and mind combined together, but his body was the dominating one because her body had been destroyed and placed into him. Well, she basically write her DNA into a code and place it into him. His body was strong enough. She knew that his lineage was nothing normal. His body was naturally strong more than any normal human. His background must be a powerful one, but still, not as powerful as what she was. But on that night, she was so weakened. Things did not go as she expected, and he ended up winning, reaping her power. But even now, he had no idea how to control it. And whenever he fell unconscious in mid-battle, whenever he tried to pull deeper, she gained control. The last time she was free, she tried to kill his friends, and he threatened that he would end their existence, something that he was not capable of doing. Since then, she had not spoken to him. But now, there is a good chance that whoever this person is might kill him, possibly see him as a threat. And that is not something that she could allow, she thought to herself as she watched the battle that was taking place outside. Meanwhile, back on the outside, Orochimaru had wrapped his neck around Naruto's body and squeezing him to see how durable he was. As Naruto was screaming out, the Sanin giggled to himself as he watched the pain on the young man's face. I told you, you would not like for me to do my own testing on you. However, Naruto grit his teeth before he bit down hard. Orochimaru actually screamed out as Naruto bit into his flesh. The snake Sanin uncurled himself from Naruto and threw Naruto into a branch. Naruto slammed right into it, However, Naruto was confused by what was going on. He was not slowing down, nor was he getting tired. In fact, he felt stronger. He flew forward towards the Sannin, who had just recovered from Naruto sinking his teeth into his own neck. As Naruto had tried to bite out his flesh, Orochimaru saw him coming and ducked under the blow. Before he pulled his palm back and thrust it into Naruto's chest, blood escaped from Naruto's mouth as he was blasted. Orochimaru ran on the ground. As he was able to get behind Naruto before he reached and leaped, he planted a foot in Naruto's back, sending him forward. Naruto slammed across the ground several times before he was knocked face first into a tree branch. As it broke and he fell, his eyes were closed as he was falling. Orochimaru was beneath him as he extended his tongue only for Naruto's eyes to snap open. Naruto blurred through hand sign, wind style, gale palm. Naruto pointed his hand to the ear. His body was pushed down in incredible force. As he escaped the tongue of the Sannin, Naruto pulled out two kunai and intended to bury them through Orochimaru's ears to meet in the middle. However, the Sannin brought both of his arms up, stopping Naruto from doing so, as he pushed Naruto's hands open wide, before once again slamming his palm in Naruto's chest. More blood escaped Naruto's lips. However, Orochimaru grabbed his leg before smashing him down into the ground. He picked him up and threw him into a tree, as Naruto slammed right into it. He was no longer getting up though, as he was just lying there in the broken remains of that tree. Orochimaru walked over towards him. Well, it seems your body does have its limit. And here I was starting to think that you were invincible, Orochimaru said, sounding amused with himself and upset at the same time. As for a moment there he thought he found a real goal. But this boy was just physically better than most. Orochimaru had no idea who this boy was. Getting into Konoha by himself was easy, and getting out would be easy as well, but leaving with someone would be harder. And he could not allow anything to get in his way. So he could not allow Minato to find out that he was here. Therefore, he would eliminate this boy right here and now. He did not want any future threat coming for him. Whatever this boy was, he was not important because he was already out. Orochimaru thought that by pushing him, he would see some pinnacle of power that would pique his excitement like with the Sharingan, but that was not the case. That is when he heard the branches moving as Naruto got back up. Blood was running down his forehead. The karma markings had vanished. However, Naruto was on his feet, a smirk on his face as he brought his two hands up. What? You think I was down? I can keep going all day, he said, as he panted a bit. Orochimaru looked at him amused. You're barely holding up. Let me give you a mercy and end you quickly, he said, as he spat out his blade and grabbed the handle. He was in front of Naruto within a second as he drove it forward, but Naruto pulled back and tilted. As Orochimaru missed his target, the moment Naruto's hand touched the ground, he dropped, flashing through hand sign as he did. He took in a deep breath before he shot 3 wind bullets toward the Sannin. Orochimaru evaded all of them, but Naruto was not done, as he shot electricity out of his hand, going through just 2 hand signs to do that. The Sannin, despite the close proximity, twisted his body in unreal proportions before he slammed his heel in Naruto's face, right across Naruto's temple. Naruto's body was thrown across the dirt. Orochimaru had came here with the intention of testing Sasuke. Upon fighting Sasuke, Orochimaru held back, as he realized that if he were to compare these two, this child far outclassed Sasuke in everything, even with his Sharingan activated, as he had to increase his speed and strength to actually keep up with this boy, unlike Sasuke. But he was still not going 100%, of course. He was a Sannin. Naruto was lying on his back, as blood was running down his face. as he was looking up to the heavens. His head tilted to the side as he saw the snake Sonic coming towards him, blade in hand. Was this really it? Am I going to die here? Naruto thought to himself as he was slipping into unconsciousness, halfway in. The next thing he knew, he was in his mindscape. Yue saw the body appear. She got out of her throne as she walked over and stood over him. Pathetic. To be defeated by this snake. I'm truly disappointed. As Naruto looked up at her. He's a Sanin, he said. As Yue realized that he was not fully unconscious. Even with your power, it still wasn't enough. Don't you dare bring me into this. It's an insult to my very name. If I was out there, I would obliterate him with one move. You know nothing of the power that you truly wield because of me. You are merely using a fraction of that power, so don't you dare say that my power means nothing in this fight. As Naruto looked at her, as he knew that Orochimaru was outside about to end his life, he promised his team that he would be right back. He promised Samui that he would be there and that she would be there to cheer him on, because he was gonna shatter all the participants and made it to the finals and win the entire thing. Yujito was so worried about him, but he promised her that he would be fine. Would he really let down his big sister? Is he that kind of little brother? Hell no, Naruto thought, as he felt a surge bubbling up inside of him. Yui raised the eyebrow in surprise. She never expected this, as she could feel it, the changes going on in his body, only for his body to vanish away from the mindscape. In the outside world, time had flowed differently, so Orochimaru did not reach Naruto despite him talking to Yui for so long. Orochimaru was shocked as Naruto got back to his feet. The amount of force that he kicked him with, he should be unconscious. Oi, snake face, said Naruto, his white hair covering his eyes, as Orochimaru could not see his face, shadowed by his hair. That is when there was a flash of light. It was a chakra coming out to form something, a crown of sorts. Orochimaru was confused by that, as he watched an incomplete crown appear on the child's head. It was only surrounding one side and stopping at the back of his head. As Naruto looked up, the markings on his face was still blue to show that he had control. However, this time, Naruto vanished. Orochimaru was taken aback. Was that a teleportation jutsu? He thought, only for him to feel it coming as he blocked. However, despite putting his arms up, the Sanin was blown several feet away. Shock resonating over his face as he felt the stinging sensation in his hands. He looked up as he jumped back. Naruto's feet obliterated the ground. But he did not stop there though, as he shot forward, outstretching his hand. Upon doing that, wind seemed to gather all around his hand without even wheeling hand sign. Orochimaru was perplexed by that, as he was blasted in the stomach. Orochimaru couldn't believe it. Once again, this child has managed to wound him, as the wind jutsu tore into his flesh, tearing at his flesh as blood started to fall all over the ground. The snake Sanin backpedaled as he was about to move out of the way until he heard a cackling sound, only to see Naruto's other hand covered in lightning as Naruto swiped. An arc of electricity touring through the area, burning everything to smithereens, including the log that Orochimaru substituted with. The snake Sanin appeared on a tree above him as he was holding on to his bleeding stomach. He was shocked. It caught him off guard. He would have never expected. Naruto slammed his hand on the tree as a green light filled the entire area. Orochimaru felt something as he tried to jump. However, the tree had changed shape It was like the molecules inside of it had rearranged himself, allowing Orochimaru's feet to sink into it like it was made of mud. The snake Sanin was shocked as the branches tore through his back. Orochimaru's eyes were wide in shock, not expecting that. Quickly opening his mouth, another Orochimaru jumped through and slickered away. As for Naruto, his brain felt like it was about to burst. Information that he did not even understand, abilities that he could not even fathom of doing, flashing through his mind. He rested his hand on the tree and the tree bent to his will. The snake Sanin was a few feet away from him. Orochimaru could not believe it. He was forced to shed his body. For a child, rage swelled inside of the Sanin. How could that be possible? Him, a Sanin, reduced to something like this? Saving his life from a damn child. This was an insult to his pride, an insult to him. Bloodlust started to leak from the man as he got enraged. His full power started to leak out to the surface until he remembered where he was. But Naruto slammed his hand together as a green light extended all over the forest area that they were. Naruto then smirked towards the Sanin. Die, he said. Upon saying that, the entire forest came alive. The ground split open as Orochimaru fell. The Sanin was shocked as multiple earth spikes tore right through him. Well, they would have if he didn't bend his body at the correct moment. Orochimaru jumped on a spike as he shot himself upwards. The ground was closing and trying to take him with it. Flashing through Hansan, he fired a blast of air that increased his speed as he got out as the ground crushed together. Moment he was in mid-air though, the trees attacked him. Vines extended from every area. These vines were not normal. As they tear through stones, Orochimaru leaped and ran. The grass came alive. It was like razor blades tearing through everything. His foot almost got sliced off. Orochimaru came out of it bloody, slices all over his body. It was a disgrace to his honor, a disgrace to his name. But the entire forest was alive. The entire forest was trying to kill him. He had cleared a large distance away from the boy, but through it all he could still see him, as Naruto put on a cocky grin. The Sanin was fuming. He wanted to attack, but one step, he would enter back into that space where the forest was trying to kill him alive. As Naruto had his hands clasped together, as the trees lashed out toward the Sanin once again, disappointment and rage watched over Orochimaru's face as he fled, running away from the scene. He had lost his battle. From the moment whatever happened to that child that gave him that horn on his head that looked like a crown, he was disappointed, angry, humiliated, running from a mere child. As for Naruto, he dropped to his knees. The horn vanishing, the markings vanished as well. As he panted, his brain was what was affecting him right now. It felt like his mind was trying to process so much things at once. The next thing he knew, he was in the mindscape as he looked up towards Yui. What just happened? He said. She had a cocky smirk on her face. A smirk of pride. A smirk of dominance. A smirk of power. Now you see, mere human, why we are so different. That you just tap into was a taste of my power. As you can see, comparing us is like comparing an ocean to a tiny stream. And don't you ever forget it, she said to him. As Naruto looked at her, she thought that she won this one, given the cocky look on her face. How could I, said Naruto, when you're stuck inside of me? Her smirk instantly turned into a frown as Naruto vanished, as she scowled angrily. On the outside, Naruto was on his butt as he wiped the sweat away from his brow. He then proceeded to laugh. He laughed out loud and hard as well. To think, he made a Sanin run away. It is said that the Sanins are on the level of Kages, and he made a Sanin run away. He found it rather hilarious as he pulled himself to his feet, wobbling a bit, He had to go and find his team, and fast. Before that though, Naruto made his way towards the grass and touched it. It was just as soft as ever. But once he had it under his control, it was like razor sharp. Whatever power she had, she could manipulate the environment. And now that power was running through him, but it was more in depth than that. He was able to change the molecules inside of a structure. His brain had retained that information from using that power. But that was just the beginning of her abilities. He had no idea what the full extent of it was, but his mind could not fully understand it. And she was right, he was just broaching the top of it. To think that someone could have put her in the state that made her had to try and take over his body because she was too weak. Who could have had the power to defeat her? She was running from someone, alright. And she was right. He was gonna need to face them if they were gonna come after her because she was stuck inside of him. The next time they talk, he will have to get her to trust him. It doesn't matter how impossible that sounds. She has to trust him no matter what. If he was going to be able to control and learn the things that she knew. With that, he made his way off to find his team. Time skip. Sakura looked over at Natsume and Sasuke as well. The both of them were still unconscious. Her sensei had taught her medical ninjutsu, as much as he knew, so she could heal all the surface wounds. And Natsume was not so bad off with those. In fact, she was healing already. Sasuke, on the other hand, his condition was worse. His fever had not yet broken, but it was slowly going down. It was that damn accursed mark on his neck that bastard snake placed on him. She looked towards Natsume, who was still unconscious. She was roughed up pretty bad by the snake as well, but she would be conscious soon. Stepping out of the hideout, she looked towards the two ninjas that were there. I don't know why you two are doing this, but thank you, she said, as she gave them a bow of thanks. You can thank Naruto for that, Amoy said. He and that girl in there are friends. Sakura now had a worried look on her face, as the others noticed that as well. What's with that look, Haru said. Oh, I was just worried. I mean, he did told you guys to save us, so do you think he's gonna be okay? Sakura was worried about him, but she was also involved. And the Hokage made her swear to secrecy that she would not talk or tell anyone about what she was involved in, considering that she had heard the name Naruto at the land of Wave, so she knew much more than she was letting on. Not to mention the fact that he might be the son of their Hokage, so she had to keep that a secret. It was an oath that she swore to the Hokage himself, so she had to say that instead, and she had to keep herself calm. But it seems like these two had no idea. That is when Amoy heard something, as he looked at Haru. Looking towards the girl in front of him, Amoy stepped forward as he grabbed Sakura's hand. Sakura was caught off guard, not expecting to do that, as he threw her out of the way. Him and Haru jumped away as well. A gust of air smashed down hard where they stood. Damn it, I didn't get any of them. A voice spoke up as the person landed. Sakura landed a distance away. What the hell? As she saw a guy from that village with the musical notes. It doesn't matter. Sakura heard a voice behind her that made her tremble. We will still get them all. She spun around, however she was hit with a confusing wave as she found herself off balance. Her ears started to bleed that made her scream. She then collapsed on the ground, passing out a moment later. As Dosu lowered his hand, Dosu, the leader of Team Dosu. Amoy glanced up toward the tree as he saw a girl up there. His blade was already out as he knocked the strange pin away that she tried to hit him with. It was a senbon. There was a bell attached to it, as it rang one time. You're a fast one, she said. What do you people want? Amoy said. Oh, that's simple. We're not after you, but we figure that you guys might stand in our way, so we will just take you out right here and now. Kin said with a vicious grin. Yeah, so we're about to end this, said Zaku as he raised his hand. Double decapitating wind style. Wind bullets. Zaku was cut off as he was slammed in the side and shoulder by 3 wind bullets. He was launched as he slammed right into a tree. Everyone turned as Natsume was back on her feet conscious. She was awake. You bitch, said Zaku as he got up in pain. His arm hung limply at his side. A mere movement caused him a spasm of pain. I don't know who the hell you guys think you are, but attacking my team, you're gonna pay, she said, clenching her fists. I don't think so. She turned her gaze towards the leader that was holding Sakura. Sakura was unconscious as those who had a kunai at her throat. Make one move, and she's dead. Natsume clenched her fists. She could not risk Sakura's life. Damn it, she thought. Boom! Something dropped from the sky, right on top of Dosu, as dust and smoke filled the area. Both Amoy and Karu stepped forward. They might not let it show, but they were worried. That person that they saw, even Naruto, was a bit frightened by him. And they knew Naruto for long enough to know that, in terms of speed, strength, and overall skills and confidence, he did not back down. And this forest was to be filled with nothing but genins, but yet, Naruto was afraid. So they were worried on the inside. But they knew that he would be alright. They just knew. It was hard to explain how, but they knew it. It was Naruto after all. When the smoke and dust cleared, Naruto had Sakura in his arms, as his feet was currently resting on the unconscious Dosu's head that he had stomped in a moment ago. Zaku, seeing that, pointed his one arm forward. Decapitating earwave, he said, not caring for Dosu, who was lying unconscious right beneath Naruto's feet. The body of Dosu was sent sailing as he slammed right into a tree. Zaku blinked in shock. What the hell? Where is... Natsume turned as she saw Naruto behind her putting Sakura down, before he vanished. The next thing she heard was a gurgle of surprise and pain, as Naruto's fist was buried in Zaku's stomach. Zaku keeled over. Naruto grabbed him by the back of the shirt and lifted him up, using his body to block the senbons that Kin had thrown, using Zaku as a distraction. Zaku was now falling back to the ground in pain, with the senbon sticking out of him. Kin realized he was no longer there. The next thing they heard was a scream, as they looked upwards to see Kin falling from the tree, as she slammed down hard, unconscious. Natsume was impressed. He did this in the span of a few seconds. It was impressive. Not that she was any slouch either. If Naruto did not arrive, if that guy was not holding Sakura hostage, Natsume could have handled all of them by herself. But her brother was truly strong, and it made her feel happy. Yes, happy, as she looked towards him, as he kicked Zaku across the face, knocking him out cold. Idiot! Karu yelled at him. What took you so long, she said. As Naruto knew that it was her way of saying she was glad that he was okay. He placed a hand at the back of his head. Sorry about that, he said. I guess I got into a bit more trouble than I thought. He rubbed the back of his head. She couldn't help but be reminded of her father as she watched Naruto doing that. Are you guys okay? He asked. Pretty much, Amoy said, although it's been a really shitty day with everything so far. Yeah, you're telling me. That is when they noticed his clothing. It seems like you ran into a bit more trouble than you thought. Yeah, said Naruto. I'll explain everything later. Hey, how are you? Naruto was cut off as a malicious feeling filled the entire area. It was coming from the wreckage of the tree. Natsume turned her head as someone stepped out. Of course it was Sasuke, but he was different. She had grown with Sasuke. She come to see him as a part of the family, and she'd never seen him like this before. The power oozing from him was nothing normal. The look in his eyes, as there was a smirk on his face. He seemed to be happy. However, he seemed to be talking to himself. She was not sure what he was saying, but the moment he looked up and saw Naruto, his grin extended. "I'll test you first," he said. Sasuke shot forward. "Sasuke, stop!" Natsuma yelled. "They're not the enemy." But Sasuke would not listen as he swiped at Naruto. Naruto stepped back. "Cool down," he said. "I'm not your enemy." Sasuke swiped, as he did not seem to be in a state to tell friends from foe at this moment, as Naruto stepped back, dodging all of his attacks. Karu pulled out her blade. "No," said Naruto, knowing that she would put the Uchiha down to save him. However, Naruto did not need saving at the moment. Despite this influx of power, the Uchiha seemed to be not focused. His mind was not focused at all. There was too much rage, too much excitement, too much glee, and therefore his moves were sloppy, unbalanced. That is why Naruto dodged and leaped to the side as he clenched his fists, intending on knocking him out until Natsuma appeared. She threw her arms around Sasuke and gripped him tight. "Calm down," she said, bypassing through that horrendous chakra. "I said, they're not the enemy." "Calm down, Sasuke," she yelled at him, her voice filled with fury. Slowly but surely, Sasuke seemed to snap back into focus, his mind returning back to a stable state. He blinked in confusion as the marks went away. Natsuma watched as the marks retracted. The pattern looked like a Sharingan. The three told him, "Natsuma, why you hold on to me?" "What do you mean by that? Don't you remember what you just did?" "What?" Sasuke said. "It seems you have amnesia," said Naruto. Natsuma released him as she looked him up and down. "How are you feeling?" she asked. "I'm not sure. I feel fine," he said. Sasuke was not sure what was going on. A moment ago he felt a strange sensation just swallow him, like he was placed in a trance. However, she was able to break him out of it. The memories still retained inside his head, but he would receive them soon. But not now, as he was able to recollect where he was and what was going on. As Naruto breathed a sigh of relief. "Well, I guess everything worked out in the end," he said. "Now we can all go to the tower." "Unfortunately, we don't have our scroll yet," Natsuma said. "Oh right," said Naruto, forgetting that they had got their scroll early. "Oh," he said, walking over as he searched the bodies of the Sound Ninja. "What do you guys have?" "A Earth Scroll," Natsuma said. Sasuke looked at her. She did not even hesitate to trust this guy. Oh yeah, he remembered now. This was no normal person. This was... He glanced towards Natsuma. She gave him a look to be silent. He could not say anything, from little that he knew. "I guess you're in luck," said Naruto as he pulled out the Heaven Scroll. Natsuma smiled at that as she walked over towards him. He handed it to her. "Thanks," she said to him. "No problem," said Naruto. "You deserve it," she said. "You saved my ass more than once now. And I don't understand. Seeing that I woke up not seeing you here. Did you stay behind to fight Orochimaru?" "Wait," said Karu as she walked over. "Do you mean Orochimaru of the Sannin?" "Yeah, he was the one that fought us." "You're telling me that man was Orochimaru?" She snapped her head towards Naruto. "And you knew this? And you told us to leave you there to fight a monster like that?" As Naruto chuckled nervously, as her glare intensified. Time skip. As Naruto still had a small bruise on his face, Karu had slapped him for being a dumbass. He guessed he kind of deserved it, but he was trying to protect them. While she appreciated that, for him to fight Orochimaru by himself, she was still shocked that he was alright. She and Amoy would have felt terrible if they know that they left him behind to die. Something that they never wanted to do, ever. despite the chain of command that he had taken in this team as a leader when their real leader was not there. They made their way to the tower after that. Despite that though, Naruto found it pleasant talking to this girl. Natsume, her name was. It was strange. He liked her. Not like a boy would like a girl that he does not know. It felt like something much deeper. A bond that was deeper than friendship. Nothing sexual, and that was the weird part. Not that he was ready for anything like that, despite his sister giving him the talk. Of course she did that, and it was the most embarrassing moment of his life. But the thing was, this feeling felt like he knew her. But he couldn't say that because she might think that he was crazy. Or would she? She seemed to be fun-going and carefree like him. It did not take them too long to find the tower. As they read what they were supposed to do, their sensei arrived, as Naruto told him that he needed to talk to him immediately about what happened. Natsume did not know what happened regarding Naruto and Orochimaru's fight, but she told Iruka, who appeared for her and her team, everything, as Naruto told his sensei. Orochimaru was no longer in this forest at all, as Darui told them to go in the tower and rest until the days were up. He will have a talk with the Hokage of the proceedings of the forest. So with that, they were given leeway, and Naruto was exhausted. All he wanted to do was to go and get some sleep. Time skip. Naruto opened his eyes. As he stretched and yawned, pulled himself up, he felt relaxed. The rooms in the tower were a lot, more than he expected, so much so that he got a room for himself. Granted, it was not big or anything, but it was set for this exact reason. It seems like they guessed that half of the members, more than half, would be disqualified. Naruto was surprised as he found out yesterday that he was not the first team to be here. That was strange, given their time. They just spent a few hours in there. It turns out it was a sand team. That team must be ridiculously powerful. As Naruto made his way, as his stomach started to grumble, he placed his hand on the lock. The moment he did that, he winced as he pulled his hand away. He tried to, but his hand would not release the knob. What the hell? As Naruto winced, something stabbed right into his finger. He tried to pull away, but it would not. After a good 5 seconds, he was finally able to pull his hand back. What the hell is this? He thought, not expecting that in the slightest, as he looked towards his bleeding finger. He had no clue what the hell just happened. He looked towards the doorknob that looked very normal now. What the hell was that? He thought, as he inspected, not seeing anything out of place. Looking toward his finger that was already healed. Or maybe he was seeing things. No, he felt the pain. He got stabbed by a door. Was the door trying to kill him or something, Naruto thought, as he looked towards it with a skeptical gaze, before he kicked it open, using his feet, and walked out, using his feet to close it behind him. The moment he was gone, what seemed to be a small seal that was so tiny that a normal human eye could not see. It was contrived right into the center, blending to look like nothing, started to glow, as it unraveled to show a larger seal, a familiar seal in kanji, as Minato flashed in, a smile on his face. Got it, he thought to himself. He went through hand sign before unraveling the seal that was there. There was 2 seals, one to summon him and the other one. Opened his palm, a vial of blood dropped in Minato's hand. Not a large amount, but it was enough. Naruto was not seeing things. He got stabbed, and that thing that stabbed him started to suck out his blood a bit. And this was what Minato needed to prove, that Naruto was his son, as he was going to test his blood to his. Minato of course wanted his son to be here, especially after he heard what happened in the forest. That Naruto stayed behind to protect his sister despite not remembering her. The bond of family was so strong that the urge to protect her was still there. However, he was shocked that he was able to fight Orochimaru by himself. However, Naruto Sensei came to him, telling him that he simply caused distractions and hid. Darui did not want to spill Naruto's secrets, so he did not tell Hokage anything regarding Naruto's strength. However, Minato could tell that something was up. His son had changed, and he was different. Power-wise, for him to even last against Orochimaru was impressive. He had ninjas scouring for the Sannin, but he was nowhere to be seen. After fighting Naruto, he ran away, leaving the village immediately perhaps. He got away once, and he came back. The next time he showed his face, he would not leave this village alive, Minato thought, as he flashed away with the blood. Time skip. I promise you, doors are not trying to kill you, said Karu. You know, if I didn't know better, I would say that Amoy has been rubbing off on you, for you to start to think these stupid, idiotic things. I swear it, said Naruto. The thing stabbed me in my hand and it would not let go. She grabbed him by the shoulders. Naruto, doors are pieces of wood that are man-made. They're not trying to kill you. But what if they are, Amoy said. What if Naruto pissed off the god of doors, and it's now sending its acolytes to hurt him in mysterious ways that might not seem as anything too big until they make their big move. Whack! Karu whacked him across the head. Would you shut the hell up? Now you're just feeding onto his fantasy of doors are trying to kill him. But he's right, said Naruto. I wonder if I pissed them off back at home, and now they're trying to kill me. Karu released a heavy breath. How stupid could these two be, she thought to herself. You know what? Fine. Doors are trying to kill you. Just make sure you kill them first, she said to him. Finally, you're on board, said Naruto. I'm on too, Amoy said. If they think they can get to you, they're gonna have to go through us first, he said. Right, Karu? She looked towards the both of them, as she shook her head, before she just walked off. Sometime later, Naruto was exploring the tower, as he had gotten something to eat. There was really not much around here to do. Tomorrow was the final day. The first day that he got here, he had checked out almost everything. So right now all they were doing was waiting on other teams. Another Konoha team arrived with a Hyuga girl on it. And then there was another with a Hyuga boy on it. And the sound team that he had knocked out, they made it as well, as Naruto saw them sending him glares. However, he did not really mind those. It's not like they could defeat him. Now that he had some time though, he figured that this would be the perfect moment. In his room, Naruto was meditating until he found himself in his mindscape. Yui was right in front of him, on her throne as usual, as she was acting like he was not even there, her hand resting on her cheek. Hello, said Naruto. What do you want, she said. Look, I know that we've never really gotten off on the greatest of terms, but as you can see now, we need each other. And why would I need you? Naruto sighed, figuring that she would be as insulting as usual. Alright, insult me all you want. It's not gonna change what I came to ask. I need your help. You're inside of me, and you're beyond useful. Yes, time and time again you've shown that your power is truly something fierce, and I cannot deny that. After all, without it, I'm sure that Orochimaru would have killed me. So thanks, said Naruto, as he bowed his head in respect. She was surprised by that action, given this boy, resilient to do what she say. As he looked back up at her, she snorted and turned her head. That is why I come to ask for your guidance, said Naruto. If I'm gonna get any stronger and prepare for what the hell you're running from, I'm gonna need your help. After all, I am now an extension of you. She took a breath. As much as I hate being a part of you, and hate to agree with you, you're correct. That is why. You will do what I say without question. Well, said Naruto. Fine then, you can leave, she said. Hold on, said Naruto. The last time you got a bit careless and almost killed my friends. So I'm not going to agree with anything that you want me to do without me knowing. Before anything, you have to promise me that you will not try to harm my friends or anyone close to me. Well, anyone close to me that is not an enemy. If it's an enemy, you can go ahead and harm them as much as you like. But my friends, anyone that is not trying to actively hurt me or anyone else is off limit. What is this? Are you trying to make a deal with me? Yes, said Naruto. I can even allow you free entry to the outside world. And how would you do that? I'm not sure. But you took over my body once. I can allow that to happen again. There must be a way. As long as you make a deal with me. In terms of you helping me to control your power and not hurting my friends. And all I get out of this deal is controlling you, she said. Pretty sweet deal seeing that you're stuck in here, said Naruto. She looked at him as she was silent, as Naruto watched her carefully. Fine, human, she said. Let's make a deal. She had a strange look on her face. As Naruto looked at her, it was almost like she was plotting something rather dangerous to do once she was out. Not that he even knew how to do that if he wasn't knocked unconscious during a battle. And that was the only time it happened after all. But he needed to learn how to control her power. He needed to get stronger. As Naruto walked towards her. What do you want? She said, seeing him coming close. As he extended his hand. Don't you know what a handshake is? He asked, seeing her looking at him strangely. Of course I know, you imbecile. Why should I sully my hands by touching yours? To solidify our deal, said Naruto. Come on, just one shake. And that will be the end of it. Come on, we're both getting something here, said Naruto. She rolled her eyes before she sighed, as she extended her hand. The moment their hands touched, something strange happened as Naruto was assaulted by memories. Naruto dropped to the ground. She looked at him, curiously without saying anything, as he gripped his head, pain coursing through him. Naruto snapped his eyes open in the outside world, panting heavily, as he said one word. Well, a name to be more exact. Kushina, he said. But guys, to be in subs right here. If you want to see the next part, and do like, subscribe, comment down below, and turn on that bell notification to stay posted. Remember to share to all of your friends on your social media platform. And also guys, don't forget to go ahead and check out the other what ifs on the other channels. Yes, I need a 4 of them which I post what if on every single day for you guys to enjoy. So go ahead and smash that red subscribe button and become a part of the Endmaking family. And thank you for all of your help and your support. And yeah, without further ado, I'm off now. See you guys soon. Peace.